that nothing mattered if I couldn't communicate.
I miss my family.
They just get desperate. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go, and for them this is the only option they see. They can change the life.
You were speaking about the obstacles that you faced when you first moved here. Would you like to elaborate about a few experiences, about a few incidents where you felt like, oh, this is difficult?
The
The
language,
language, right?
English was big
But
challenge.
you speak so
That's
fluent English now.
now.
Like if I speak
Now.
when I'm speaking to you now, I feel like you've always spoken English.
Thank
You've done an
you.
amazing job in
Thank
learning
you.
English.
It was a process. Since I came here, I decided to study English. I went to the high school ESL program,
Yeah,
the adult program,
yeah.
like 3 nights per week. It was hard. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard when you are an adult because it's not easy and you need to work, you need to pay bills,
Right.
and then it's not just, you don't spend the whole time learning English. But then when I decided to be part of the community services, I was with an amazing staff with Americans, and I was all the time like practicing listening and speaking, and that was very helpful.
Mm.
Yeah, so the first obstacle was definitely the language, and but I was lucky enough to understand it. That nothing mattered if I couldn't communicate, and I think that's like even today. That's the biggest challenge of the world in general is the miscommunications, between people, between families, communities, countries, and a lot of times, when you can communicate, you get war, you get like bad neighbors, you get like a lot of stuff that we have today. There's like the problems is because we can communicate, and especially being somebody from a different ethnicity, it was very important for me. I could not assume that I was going to do this because I'll be doing something good. Because a lot of times, something that might be proper, for the way I grew up, might not be proper for the community or where I'm at, or my friends for that time. So that was like the very first, and I really like immersed myself into the language. I'll say within uh, like 6 months, I could communicate in a way that I felt that I could understand and make myself understood. No matter what language you want to learn, the number one thing you need to do, you need to fast on your native language, because you have to. You can't like be talking to your friends in English and trying to learn Spanish. You really, the best thing to do, just associate yourself with Spanish speaking people, and just like forget about English, for like 6 months, and that'll be like the best way to learn, because that's how I learned.
How often do you go back home, Ecuador?
Every 2 or 3 years.
Nice, nice. And how do you feel about when you go back to Ecuador? Do you feel like Martha's Vineyard feels more like your home now, or do you feel like Ecuador is your home, and when you're living here, you're living away from home?
Oh, that's a good question because it's kind of, yeah. It feels like at some point you have two homes, and your heart belongs to different homes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then when I go to Ecuador, is I really miss my family and my friends, and the food is amazing. It's
Mm.
different, and so feels like home. But at the same time, I miss the island,
Mm.
like the community, the beaches, the
Mm.
place, the safety. Sadly, in my country, it's not. I'm from a city. It's a big city. It's
Mm.
not completely safe. Lots of delinquents. So here is different. It's more peaceful. That you can go outside and relax. So there, it's not really. It's not relaxing.
Mm.
But I miss is my family that we are close.
Um, Jamaica is, I mean, when I go and visit, it's like awesome. Home. Everything is organic, like real organic. You
How
see
often
the
do you visit?
trees. We try to visit, we were there in December. We made every couple of years, maybe. Sometimes stretched out a little bit longer. But, after a while, I'm ready to head back home because I wasn't raised there. So I'm not used to, there's certain adjustments that, I find it hard to make. and stuff like that. So home, that's a hard one. It would be that's hard. Maybe Canada first. I'm not being biased or anything, but then here, you know, and
Right.
you know, it's just a mixed pot. I don't know. Today,
Exactly.
the U.S., tomorrow Canada, the next day Jamaica.
Exactly. We live in a
I know.
globalized world, so
Yeah,
make the most out of the chances, the
definitely.
opportunities that you get.
United States.
The United
Yeah,
States.
that's my home and this is my place. But for example, I was recent in Brazil and I went to visit my family and I say this is different feeling because I love this place so much, but I feel like that I have to come back because that this place is not my home anymore, even though I love my homeland so much. But I have the thought like I have to come back because my home is not here anymore. And so I always tell my kids sometimes it hurts to grow, and this is the time you realize like I'm an adult now and my life is not in Brazil anymore. So
why do you think more and more people are leaving Brazil to come to the US?
It's because the politics situation in Brazil, and people are struggle a lot, and in Brazil we are going through a lot of transitions, and the situation is just very challenging for them, and they just get desperate. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go, and for them this is the only option they see. They can change the life.
That's the nice thing about it coming from a place like Brazil, because it's so much harder, to get things done in Brazil. Like to open a company, it takes you, between 1 and 4 weeks, about a month to open a company. To close a company can take a whole year.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the bureaucracy, and I mean, like the island, people say like the island is very a lot of bureaucracy on the island. It's not even like 10% comparing to Brazil.
Yeah,
and so
it's always nice to put things into perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because people who have only lived here on the island only have this perspective.
Yeah.
And like people who move from a different part of the world to the island or to the US are able to put things into perspective as to like what is it like in a different part of the world.
Yeah, and we had business in Brazil, so I remember
was it?
a supermarket, and I still remember like we could not open Sundays, we could not open like some of the religious holidays, and we used to have like 4 roll-up doors, like garage doors, to the supermarket, and then on Sundays would open just one, and one of us, like one of our family, would be outside on the sidewalk watching for the cops. So if we notice a cop coming, we have to close the store right away. And then people in the cars inside the store, they had to be like locked in there until the cop went by. And then the people say like, they're supposed to be like going after like criminals. But I mean, we on that mind, we are criminals because because of the like a blue law type of thing. You could not open on Sundays. And also, I mean, like right now, if you want to open a grocery store here, your license with the town is $10 a year.
Here?
Yeah, $10 for your business certificate. It's $40 for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and in Brazil, it would cost you by $500 to open the business. And then to close the business, it will cost you like $2,000.
And all that money is not going to the government. I
believe. I mean, corruption.
Somebody's pocket.
Yeah, corruption in Brazil is still really big, but I mean, all over the world. I mean, I think unfortunately, every time when you talk about politics, you also talk a lot about corruption. Even if it's not people putting money on their pocket, but they're taking care of the friends, business and stuff like that. So I mean, that's what makes the country goes around, and you just got to do the best you can.
I believe we have to have a huge change on the politics, and whatever it is there, they have to work and pro like for people, not for themselves, in order to improve the country, like on the health way, the school system, like, and this does not help. Like, it's not happy in Brazil right now. They just fighting against each other, and the system is broken. So people doesn't feel safe there. They don't want to be there. They feel scary to be there. They fear like for the family.
Well, like the first kind of like motivation was in for those days in Mexico, the economy collapsed, and even like if I was like in the good position in the one of the main private schools in Mexico and other one of the main uh, public schools in Mexico was not enough for those days because everything lost value and everything. Everybody was losing economically a lot of money and with family. I have two kids in Mexico those days, and I say I need to take care of the family. So that's when I decided to move here.
But also, it sometimes it's kind of sad because when the people move to this country, not everybody is able to get a visa or to Kenya that way. They sometimes to Mexico, and they hide. And that's for me really sad. The many people they are like living like like under the table, yes, without documents, like doing jobs under the table and just hiding themselves, and they are not exposed, and they don't want to share, which is really sad. But yes, some I feel like in when they are going to different places and they create this community, it's like a little Ecuador there. It's like they contribute to the community, to the country.
Right.
Yeah.
And is this like all of Brazil, or is it like some parts of Brazil?
No, it's all over Brazil.
All over
Yeah,
Brazil?
everybody's facing the same thing now. And also, I think I was talking with someone about that too. I never saw like so many different places in Brazil, like immigrants from Brazil here. We usually have only like 2, 3 towns like from Brazil that we know. But now you see people here on the island and off island as well from every like places in Brazil, like everywhere, every state. You see people here now. That's mean like things are not easy there as well.
It's a bittersweet moment, right? Like the island, the Martha's Vineyard Island is like lucky to have such like a rich population from Brazil, but then the country of Brazil is losing
Yes, that's
its
true.
people.
That's true.
So, what are your thoughts about the general the fact that more and more people are leaving your home country to come to Martha's Vineyard? What do you feel about that? Do you feel that like it's losing its cultural significance?
I feel sad. I'm not gonna, because if this was option, someone to say, "Oh, I'm happy here, but I'm gonna try something different," and it will be different as well. But they are like kind of forcing to leave because they don't have option. So this make me feel sad because of that. I don't know if you heard about it, like, but I think this month they sent like alert, like in Massachusetts, because the crisis house, we don't have like, this is the amount immigrants Massachusetts is being receiving, especially on the island as well, like the house, like housing crisis. We don't have people to have, like we don't have place to have people here anymore, and people are living like in a very sad situation, like sharing rooms, you sleeping in a closet, you sleep in a living room, because we don't have houses here for them as well. So they are leaving Brazil, like looking for a new chance to build their lives, and they are end up in like people get advantage of them, like sleeping in closets. Like it's very sad. It's just very sad, and this also keeps me. Also, this makes me feel sad because they came in here, they work a lot, and they don't, like when they're about to going home to rest, they don't have a decent place for that.
Do you feel that the cases of domestic violence, people who experience domestic violence, increases because of like this factor that people have to, like, a lot of people have to live in a small house?
I do think so. It's definitely one of those facts, because if you cannot have like a private place, and also like a lot of people get advantage of other people. You know what I mean? So increases a lot too.
Do you have your family back in Mexico, or has your family moved to the Martha's Vineyard with you?
No, part of my family is still in Mexico, but when I was able to bring my kids to live in the States after years of trying, they live with me. So they
So
spend their life here.
would you be able to explain the years of trying that you were talking about? What was the issue that you faced while you wanted to get your kids to the island? What was it like, and how were you able to finally do it?
The so like when I came to the state, I was always able to come with a visa. I always came legally, and when I try to bring my kids to the visa, the visitor visa, they always deny me. And I remember every time in the Mexican consulate, the United States consulate in Mexico, always they point me out like, no, deny. The reason is because you Mexicans, as soon as you bring some family to visit you, they stay here. That was the reason that they gave me. But I just want them to come and spend Christmas or my birthday or their birthday and just visit or but like that. For years they denied me. They denied me until somebody advised me in immigration to request for the permanent resident
Hmm.
for them.
Do you ever feel like you wanna bring your family from Ecuador to Martha's Vineyard because like they will be more safer here, or but then what kind of things that you think about when you
Yeah.
think about these things?
Yes, I used to have that fantasy that my family will come here and we can live here and be safe and happy, but they don't want to come.
Hmm.
It's hard when you have a house, because they have a house and they have a place, and even it's not safe, it's like it's forever like their place. So it's hard to change that.
You know, this kind of reminds me that when so I was 9 years old when my family went to uh, a trip in Europe. Okay,
Ah,
so we spent some time in London, Switzerland, and I
oh,
loved
awesome.
Switzerland so much. I was like, we all should move there. We should leave India and we should move there. And then my mom was like, what will I do there? And like now, if I speak to my mom about like not moving here, but like just come here, stay with us for a few months, and then go back. And
Mhm.
then my mom will then think about what is she going to do here, staying for so many months. The part of feeling like the feeling that you are a part of a community is different for every person.
I think that my challenges, and to be honest, I've had it real easy compared to other immigrants. I have. I think I do. I do say it's because my English is so good. I think I've never had that, had that like racial perception because people will, and not saying that accents are bad because people. Here's the thing: I struggle a lot with people saying like, "Oh, you don't have an accent," and I'm like, "But that's not even good or bad. You have an accent, and like that's not bad." And so I think that I'm not perceived. Maybe I am. I don't fucking know what people are thinking. I'm not perceived as an immigrant because I don't speak like an immigrant. What would people would call that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that I've had it easy in that sense. But I do have people that will be like, "Well, can I ask you why is your English so good?" And again, like that to me is a racial comment in a sense because it's like so odd. Like I don't go around asking people, "Where did you learn English?" Like, "Why is your English so good?"
The only time I had one lady saying something that sounded a little bit discriminating, but I didn't care. I mean, totally like didn't care. This was like 10 years ago. I was at the line of steamship, and there was a guy in front of me that I didn't speak English, so I was talking to him in Portuguese, and the lady behind us said in English like, "Oh, these immigrants, they come here and never learn the language." And so I turned to her and say, "No, I do speak English, and I speak Portuguese, I speak Spanish,
Right.
and how many languages do you speak?"
I judge myself a lot. So my friends always say I'm so mean to mean. But with 6 months, I was able to say like I'm able to communicate and do whatever I have to do. I used to have like a very small like dictionary, and I remember I used to work like in a restaurants, and the waitress like they were talking with each other, and they say, "Oh, that's what you're talking about,"
Right.
and they try catch. And they say, "Oh my gosh, Priscilla, I never saw someone who wants to learn English so bad the way you do." And even though I can speak English very well and I feel very confident about it, we have the accent, and my kids make a lot of fun of me because of my accent, and but I love it, and I feel like this is a blessing to be able to learn another language without like going to the school to have access to that,
Right.
like just watching videos on YouTube and studying like reading, and have this small dictionary, so.
Right. You know, with the accent, what I feel like even I have an Indian accent, but you know that accent says that you speak another language,
It does.
or
That's
like a
true.
few other languages.
It does.
So that and like you don't so you have migrated, so like just with your accent you are saying so many things. You're saying that you learned this language, you're saying that you speak another language,
true.
you are from a different place in the world, and you've made this your home.
Yeah.
So it speaks volumes, and like as long as you're able to get your thoughts across to the other person, that's the most important thing.
That's so true.
Language is just the medium for communication.
Immigrants, yes, we are.
The main obstacle is the housing.
It's just like it's crazy here right now.
But I wonder, my grandson is now 2 years old. What type of life is going to be there for him?